Hello, Neurodiagnostic community. I'm Scott Mohr, CNIM certified neuromonitoring professional, recruiter, and career consultant with NeuroPathway, and host of the ASNM for Life podcast and YouTube channel.
And I'm Danielle Stewart again, the neuromonitoring Sikkim meme queen.
On behalf of ASNM, your Interoperative Neuromonitoring Professional Society, happy
Neurodiagnostic Week. Thanks for joining us for our 5 days of Neurodiagnostic Atomic Habits during Neurodiagnostics Week.
Yeah, the small incremental changes we make and the habits we ingrain into our workflow are what lead to improvement and eventual success in our field.
We crowdsourced from your colleagues to create this list, and today's Neurodiagnostic Atomic Habit is, what was it again? Focus on what you can control and don't stress over what you can't control.
That's right. Okay, so this is a good, I think this is a good place for us to kick off Atomic Habits for Neurodiagnostic Professionals. So Danielle, obviously we have two buckets in life, whether we like it or not, and there's no middle ground. There are the things we can affect and things we cannot affect. When we show up every day, we can affect how prepared we are, for example, how prepared we are for that case. We can't affect if that case gets delayed. We can't get affect if the anesthesia team doesn't want to deal with neuromonitoring that day. Okay, we can't affect if the surgeon's going to be grouchy and doesn't want to hear anything out of us, other than everything's on baseline, right? So exactly. We need to focus. So we need to forget about the things that we can't control. They're just literally out of our control. They're going to happen one way or the other. Those are the conditions that the game board is set for. Like as we walk in the operating room every day. So we got to focus on what we can control. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So honestly, there's way too many factors of things that you definitely can't control, including, patients decide to eat, and so then the case is delayed. But the things that you definitely can control is how prepared you are for the case. So make sure that all your electrodes are ready to go. You have tape prepared if that's what you do ahead of time. You've seen the patient, you've done your assessment, you've talked to them ahead of time. And then also other things that are within your control would be, do you have snacks with you? Do you have the mentality to go ahead and take a break and, just do some other things, maybe busy work or anything like that? And that's definitely something within your control. So it helps, honestly, with adapting when those things that you can't control, end up happening.
The height of success in every workday is if we can show up and we have every piece of tape ripped and ready to go. We have every electrode ready, bundled up, feathered, braided. I never picked up the braiding skill. I'm sorry. That was before my time, before people started doing that. But unfortunately, I'm no good at that. But if we have every communication, every documentation done, ready to go, to the point where we can sit down with a cup of coffee and we can be checking out Stick in My O&M memes or listening to the latest edition of the ASNM for Life podcast and just waiting for that patient to roll in, right? I mean, that's kind of where you want to be. It's like a hurry up and wait. We can't control when that case is going to start. We can't control if the INR comes back. The point where they're like, okay, we just can't bring this patient back and cut him open just yet. So, but we can't control being prepared. Some other things we can control and can't control. We can't control how we're always treated or talked to in the operating room, but we can control what we do with that, right? And that's a big part of our field. Communication is the lifeblood of what we do, right? Communication with the surgeon, the anesthesia team, the oversight physician. We can't control if we don't like how they're addressing us, but we can control how we communicate in high context back to them. And again, we need to be communicating our data in effective format that anesthesia and the surgeon is believing and able to act on, so we can control that. We can control by ourselves being a professional, and even if everyone else around us is getting stressed out, we can be steady. It's hard to do, right, Daniel?
Exactly. And I mean, speaking on, you can't control how surgeons will react to you or anything like that. You need to be able to adapt. So that's something that you definitely can control, is your ability to adapt to any kind of situation. Mm-hmm. Definitely cater towards the surgeon and the reaction that they might have. Some surgeons want an in-depth description of exactly what's going on. Other surgeons, they're not going to want a whole long spiel about what exactly is going on. They're just going to want to know, did I do something? Did I not do something? And what can we do to fix it?
Yeah. And, the one thing you never kind of want to hear from a surgeon is, what does that mean? What can I do with that information that you just gave me? So, and this can be difficult. I did a lot of traveling at certain stages of my career, and I'd be show up to a hospital and work with a surgeon for the first time ever. So I didn't always have the best preparation for knowing exactly how to communicate with that person. But you network with your colleagues. You network with the people that typically work with the surgeon. Hey, how do they like their pedicle screw thresholds communicated. Do they want to hear greater than 20? Do they want to hear 5, 10, 15, 20? Or, I mean, you have to, you can source that information that goes back to being prepared, something you can control. You can't control how the surgeon wants to hear about the report or the data, but you can adapt, like Danielle was saying, to that format. And you're going to make mistakes, but we can control what we do with those mistakes. I think it's a key point too, right, Danielle?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, when you make a mistake, just admit to it, apologize, take responsibility for
Ownership.
it. Surgeons have way more respect for that than they do when you try to skirt around it and pretend like it didn't happen. If there was an alert in the field and you were incorrect about what you were telling him, just let him know, hey, I do apologize, but this is actually what's really going on.
That's it. And just, you can talk to a surgeon or the anesthesia team or your oversight physician and say, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't get you the information fast enough. I'm going to do it differently next time. You wanted to know you wanted to know if the patient has myelopathy before the patient rolls in the room. I'm going to work on getting that information to you. Not always in your control if you can get that or not, but you can at least make it clear. I acknowledge what you're saying. I'm going to work to make that happen for you because we're part of a team. Danielle, I always like to think of ourselves as like the center keystone piece of like a very important information triangle between the oversight physician, the anesthesia team, and the surgeon, right? All of it's pointing towards the patient care, right? And Absolutely. So that kind of feedback, that kind of give and take with the surgeons, the anesthesia team, hey, I acknowledge what you want from me. Here, I'm going to give it back to you. I'm going to let you know, not just, hey, okay, and this applies so much with oversight physicians too, because they're like, you are their eyes and ears, and they want to know what's going on. What's the blood pressure? What's the anesthesia levels? Did they give any drugs? What's the surgeon doing right now? They don't know. The only way they know is because if you tell them, if you see what's going on, and you just sit there and type it in, so that you are the eyes and the ears in the hands of the oversight physician, right? Exactly. And they carry the liability for the case. So we have to continually close that loop. We can't control if we think the oversight physician is being needy and overbearing. We can't control if we feel like they're not engaged in the case, but we can control how we document. And we are professionals in and of ourselves. We need to do the professional thing, do the documentation, do the communication, take nothing personally. So those are the things we kind of can control.
Well, and honestly, you're the one person that's basically being the communication link between all three of those people. Mm-hmm. So you need to be able to not only tell your oversight physician exactly what is going on in the room and what anesthesia is doing, but you need to also communicate very closely with the anesthesiologist. Let them know, okay, the surgeon's about to do this. We need to reverse for testing screws or anything like that. And you need to also be the communication link between anesthesia and the surgeon. If the surgeon's always requesting TIVA and anesthesia has some gas on, you can obviously ahead of time let the anesthesiologist know, hey, the surgeon likes to have TIVA. And then if they, decline and want to do gas, then you communicate it to the surgeon. Be like, the anesthesiologist, he feels it's a better idea to throw on some gas. So just wanted to let you know that could affect our signals. And you have to be that, main communication between everybody. So communication skills, very important.
Yeah. How you can't control how someone communicates with you, but you can control
exactly
how you communicate with them.
Yes.
Do what's right for yourself. Hold your head up as a professional. I mean, we do very important work, and that's something we can control. Is show ourselves some respect too, and just by being a professional and how we communicate. Hey, this has been an awesome discussion. Thank you for joining us for this. Danielle and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Catch us tomorrow for the next Atomic Habit.
Be sure to follow the Stick'em account on Instagram and subscribe to ASNM for Life, and most importantly, ASNM on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube for more content created by your colleagues for you.
That's right. See you back here tomorrow.